Hello everyone, it is Jaden and welcome back to the Spilled Coffee Studio channel, or if this is your first time here, welcome and I hope you stay a while. But anyways, today's video is another monthly hobonichi flip through, and of course this month's video is going to be about February. So let's get into it. Alright, so I kind of changed up the way that I did like my monthlies compared to like the last one where I did like a combination of like doodles and pictures. For February, I did like monthly or like, excuse me, daily highlights, and then I just decorated it at the end of the month. It's nothing like crazy interesting, but yeah, I might continue doing this for March. I'm not 100% sure because I just can't keep up, or I can't like make up my mind of like what I want to do. Next up are the weeklies, and again, this is another section I have no clue what to do with. I did like the Wordle words, and then I did like connections, and then I did like the Wordle words again. I cannot say that, but they're not like anything that's like super like interesting, and like the weekly ones are like a section that I really struggle to like fill out. So if you all have any kinds of ideas of like what to do, I would absolutely love to hear them, because this is just like a section. It's like I just don't know what to do with all of it. Like I don't know. But anyways, let's get on to the like most interesting part of the hobonichi flip through, or at least what I think is the most interesting part, and that is the daily pages. Okay, so here's February's blank page. Like I said in like the last video, I like to decorate these blank pages for the month with like the vibes that I want to take into that month, or just like make like fun little mood boards based off of the month. So here's February, a lot to do with like Valentine's Day and stuff like that. Here is February 1st. I had some schoolwork that I had to get done, and then I also had to teach a class that day. It was a watercolor class, and there was 13 people, which is like definitely like one of the biggest classes that I taught, and it's definitely incredibly nerve-wracking. February 2nd was like nothing crazy. All I did was the pinched clay project that we had been working on. But this day was also the Grammys, so I wrote down like some of the categories, and then I liked Sabrina Carpenter's performance. But that's about it. Third was a new week, where we talked about like refining models for our bracelet, which later on in the month we had like the critique for that class, and my bracelet is like so ugly. We're allowed to like rework it to like get points and stuff, so I'm definitely going to have to do that. But we also, like in my painting class, like I just did like some sketching and got to work on my very first painting before going to my art history class, which is like we got into groups and we made criteria of what we considered was great art, or like what would a piece have that would make it great, which I think that was kind of like an interesting conversation we all had. And this was also the day that Beyonce announced she was going on tour, the Cowboy Carter tour. The 4th was a little baby critique, as I like to call it, in my ceramics class. We kind of we just looked at like our finished pieces before any glazing or anything like that, and before it had even been like bisque fired, and we just kind of like talked about how we all like liked our pieces and stuff like that. And then in my screen printing class, I was able to put down my second color of the first edition that we did. When I am doing this, when I'm filming this video, we have already moved on to the second edition, and I've actually already finished my second edition, which is very good. Or like, it's good that I finished it, not that I think like the piece is like amazing or anything. For the 5th, I was approved, and by that I mean I was improved. Like the template that I was doing for like my bracelet, like my professor said it looked really good, and then I was able to kind of like get to work on starting that bracelet. And then I also finished reading the book Resist by Rita Amoka, and I highly recommend it. It was like super interesting. And then I just continued working on my painting, and then we just had like a new artist exhibition open up at my school, and in my art history class we went into it and like discussed it, and if we thought like what the art was like, if we thought it was great art, kind of like going back to what we talked about on that Monday. And I was unfortunately a little underwhelmed by the exhibit, especially because the day before, which I forgot to mention, I went to the artist talk, and it was so much more interesting hearing the artists talk about like their previous pieces compared to like the ones that were in our school's exhibit. On the 6th, we started making coils to do a coil pot, because that was like our next project after the pinch pot. And then this is the day when disaster struck, because I broke my pinch pot project. I'll include like a picture of like what it looked like before, but there was like a little cup, and as I was picking it up, it was like all on like one piece. So I was picking it up, that one part just totally broke off. I tried fixing it with vinegar and like this paper clay pulp mixture. And then as I was fixing it, my arm just like barely touched another part, and that part cracked off too, and I tried fixing it, and I was just like so overwhelmed and stressed about it. I literally wanted to cry. I was so upset. But yeah, but I had to like let it dry and wait for it to be put into the kiln. And then in my screen printing class, we just continued working on our prints. And then on the 7th, which is a Friday, which means I don't have any classes that day, I went back in to continue working on my screen print, and I was able to get like 2 colors printed. And then I also got an iced banana bread latte. So this is like the day from when I did the like January hobonichi flip through. And then here's like the swatch of like the 2 washi tapes I got, which are super cute. February 8th, I literally had like nothing going on. I just like caught up on some journaling and some doom scrolling, which is like not a good thing. Don't doom scroll. I'm like so bad for doing that. The 9th was the Super Bowl. I could literally care less about the Super Bowl. I like watched like the halftime show, which is great. Kendrick Lamar was amazing. And I also kept up with like the score, because I just didn't want the Chiefs to win, and they didn't. The Eagles won, and I was very excited about that. And like one of my little cousins and the other family, they like cheer for like the Eagles, and they were so excited about that. The 10th, this was like a long day. I had so much stuff happening. It was like any other day of like working on like my metals class, and continue working on paintings and art history discussion. And then I got a text from my grandmother during my art history class that I need to take her to the hospital to get a rabies shot. She's totally fine. Also, the cat did not have rabies. It was just like a precautionary thing. But you know, thankfully she was okay. But like she was there like quite a while waiting to get that shot, and I was like, oh my goodness, it takes forever at the emergency room, because she had to go through the emergency room. But yeah, she's all good. Everybody's all good, thankfully. February 11th, another snow day. And I decorated this page like with like this kind of like Western stickers and stuff, because I was able to get tickets for Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour. They are like nosebleed seats, but like that's totally fine, because they were like pretty cheap. I think I was able to like get the tickets before like Ticketmaster was like really doing like the upcharging of like prices and stuff. But yeah, I'm like so excited. I really wanted to go to the Renaissance tour, and I was not able to get tickets that time. And so like the fact that I was able to get tickets this time, it has made me like so freaking excited, and I cannot wait. Okay, as you can see, for the 12th of February, I put uh-oh, because I was actually kind of going back. Oops, sorry, I like hit my like camera thing, so it was shaking. Anyways, I literally could not remember what I did, because I was going back and planning these. So all I knew was that it was a snow day. So yeah, and I just decorated it and with like some cute stickers, and I really love this one from Lydia Jean Art. Very, very cute. This little like froggy pot. The 13th, back to school. I had my ceramics class, And then as I was home, I like just did some canvases, which I filmed that, and I still have like not edited that video because I was going to be like talking about artwork I did last semester. I really need to get on that. But anyways, I also got coffee that day and also had my screen printing class, and this was also my grandfather's birthday, and we got him a red velvet cake for dessert. 14th was Valentine's Day. I did not have a Valentine. But it was also Friday, which meant I did not have any classes, which, you know, that's good with me. I had like some stuff that I had to work on, like some of my ceramics and like paintings, and I did that. And then we also, like my grandmother and I, went to take my grandfather to an appointment, and like the place had like completely shut down, and like nobody told us. Like she literally like talked to like a nurse like the day before who's like, yeah, the appointment's like here and here. But the place had like completely shut down and nobody told us, so that was kind of annoying. But afterwards we all did go get coffee and pretzels, which was really nice. 15th, some more teaching. And I taught an acrylic painting class, and then two of the ladies that were there, I had taught them before at like the watercolor class, which was really nice. And then my like the boss of like the little art place that I work at, she sat in on like one of my classes, which always makes me like so incredibly nervous. Oh my god, this was also the day like I stayed longer, and I have a key where I can unlock and lock the building, and I could not find the key to lock the building, and I was like freaking out. And then I realized it was like in the floorboard of like the car, of like my car, it had somehow like come off the keychain. But I was like really stressing for a good like 5 minutes before I found it. On the 16th, I finally decorated my mini coil pot that we made in my class with some slip. This is a very, very ugly redrawing of like what my pot looked like. I coated it in like some green slip, and then I like put these cute little froggies on it, and I like used a needle tool to like carve out like all of these like little details. It's very cute, but like this drawing is kind of like a hot mess. But like the actual pot's cute. It still needs to be like coated and glazed, but we'll be doing that after my spring break. 17th, this is like a really bad and ugly spread. I literally said that. I was like, this is a rough looking spread. But I got some coffee that morning because I didn't have to take my grandmother to work, so I didn't have to get to my classes early, which meant that I had some extra free time. And I just continued working on my bracelet in my metals class, and then continued working on my painting in my painting class. And then the art history was the usual thing of like going over the readings and discussing them. But yeah. February the 18th, it was so freaking freezing. And it was especially bad because this day was dedicated entirely to glazing our pinched pot project. However, my pinched pot broke. The repairing that I tried to do did not stick, so I just had to work with my piece as it was. I could have put it back together. My professor said like you'd still be able to see the cracks and stuff, so I could either put it back together and see the cracks or just embrace it. So I decided to embrace it. And since I decided to do that, I had to like sand off some pieces, and you can't do that inside, you have to do it outside because like breathing in the dust and stuff is so bad. So I was like outside in the freezing cold. I wish I had a scarf and I wish I had gloves, but I didn't, and I was just like sitting there like desperately like rubbing like sandpaper and stuff like over like my pieces, like trying to hurry up. And I also wasn't able to start glazing that day because after you like sand your pieces, you have to like dip them and wash them off in water so like any of the dust is not stuck to it anymore, and then you have to like wait for them to completely dry before you can glaze them. So I wasn't able to do that yet. February 19th was another day of working on our bracelet in my metals class, and then it like started snowing at the very beginning of class. And it was like, I was so shocked because like my phone said it wasn't supposed to start snowing until like 1 p.m. but it was already started, and like because of that, like we were able to like I didn't have my painting class or my art history class, so I was able to go home early, which was so nice. And I just love watching the snowfall. It's just so like cozy and pretty looking. February 20th was my screen print critique. That morning, I did not have my ceramics class because of the weather. The university had like a delayed opening, so I didn't have my ceramics class, so which was nice. But I did have my screen printing critique for our first edition. I'll include a picture of like, I'll be including pictures of like what it looks like and stuff like that. But yeah, my professor liked kind of like the sassiness of like my piece, but as well as kind of like the cutesiness of it. And I thought it was like kind of messy, but like my professor and other people were like, it looks like good. Like some of the lines and stuff are like really crisp and clean. So that made me feel good because I thought it looked kind of bad. February 21st, I had to get some stuff done. I continued working on like my little metal bracelet, which was such a pain. Oh my god. I had to like I used pliers to kind of like add like little like bumps, kind of like this. Like imagine like this is a bracelet, like these are like coming out of a bracelet. So incredibly difficult. I was struggling and my piece got like scratched up and I tried fixing it, but it was not cooperating. I was so frustrated. So after doing that, I decided to glaze my pinch pot pieces. And was able to get most of like my pieces glazed, but not all of them. But yeah, I was struggling with glazing though, because one of the things that I made was like the bag, and my professor was like, oh, glaze the inside using this like the liquidy glaze that you can like dump out. So I used that and I totally underestimated like how quickly that stuff would dry. So it like got all like clumpy at like the bottom, and I tried like cleaning it out the best I could, but I wasn't able to, which kind of sucked, but it's okay. Next up on the 22nd was a whole lot of painting, because my painting critique was supposed to have been on the 24th, but it was pushed back to the 26th. And I pretty much spent that whole day working on my paintings. I did like the background, I finished up some other areas, I made frosting on the cake of my painting by using like some thick gesso, so it have kind of like that frosting texture. And then I also went to get coffee with my grandmother because she's like, you really need a break, you can't like keep working on it. And I was like, fine, even though I was like so stressed about getting my paintings done, but it was nice to have a little break. 23rd, I was continuing to work on my bracelet. I had to add a patina to it just to kind of give it like some interesting color. And I did that by using a liver of sulfur, which it stinks like so bad, but it does leave a pretty cool like finish on like I used copper to make my bracelet, and it did leave a pretty cool finish on it. And then I also like got started on my bigger coil vessel that we had to do in my ceramics class, which was based off of like a historical pot, and then we'd have to like put a contemporary spin on it. And I like just did like the first coil, and that was literally it. And then I continued working on my second painting, and I spent all this time like making these little like watercolor like picture frames to go into my second painting, and I literally hated them, and I ended up redoing them again on Monday. As you can see, for Monday I had my metals critique. My bracelet was a hot mess. I had a bunch of scratches on it. I had a bunch of like little bumps and cuts on it. It was very ugly. But like I said, I'll be able to fix it and like help boost my grade up. My grade wasn't like horrible, but like obviously I want it to be better, so I need to do some fixing up on it. And then in my painting class, I just did some like final like touches on my piece before like my critique. I like remade the picture frames from the day before because like I said, I didn't like them. And I also added these curtains to my oil painting. The other painting was done in acrylic, just because again, I love doing like mixed media when I do paintings, and I thought they were like a really like fun and cool addition. And then I also, in like my art history class, we went over like proposals for like our final paper, and of course he picked mine, but I'm honestly kind of glad that he did, because he was able to give me like some pointers about like where to go. Like I was going in the right direction of like my paper, but like how to kind of like develop it a bit more. So it was actually like kind of nice, even though I hate talking about my stuff in front of people. On the 25th, I went to the library. But before going to the library, of course, I had my ceramics class, and I continued working on my historical vessel. which was due on March 6th, which freaked me out because like I only had like a week to get it done, and I was like, oh my god, that's so soon. I didn't realize it was so soon, and I was like freaking out. But yeah, I went to the library to return some books that I had. I didn't like read either of them. I just got like so busy beforehand, so I just wasn't able to read any of them. But I did get Never Whistle at Night and Power Hungry. As a little update, I actually was never able to start Never Whistle at Night, and usually at my library they automatically renew stuff for you, but unfortunately a hold was put on Never Whistle at Night, so I was not able to read that one. But I did read Power Hungry, which was a good book. I also got some new canvases. I spent like almost $50 in canvases. Canvases are so expensive because my professor likes when we get like the ones that are like pretty thick on the side, because they are nicer looking, like they're more like professional and stuff, but they are just very expensive. But I did get 2 of them. And then I had my screen printing class, and we just talked about our second edition, and I also did like some sketches of ideas, and I decided that my second edition will be based off of the song Highway to Hell by AC/DC. And then on the 26th, I started reading Power Hungry, as you can see, but the 26th was also the day of my painting critique. So early in the morning, I actually did like some final touches on my painting before going to the metals studio before class. And in my metals class, we were like getting ready to start our next project, which was a cause pin, which is basically we'll be creating pins about like other cause or about causes that we believe in. And they're basically pins that need to be kind of like striking and like able to like want somebody to like start a conversation with you. And we're going to be talking about like dissent and stuff and how it can relate to our cause pins. And my art history professor actually came, and it was really funny because that day I was wearing a hat, like a baseball cap, and he does this thing, like I think I mentioned it in my last like hobonichi video, where he like points at you to like answer a question, and it like really like makes me nervous. And he did that to me, and he asked me, he's like, what's your name? And I'm like, it's Jaden. And he was like, oh my god, I know you. He's like, oh my god, that's so embarrassing. But it was honestly like really funny. But anyways, in metals, we did a critique for, or not a critique, we did a demo after this like little presentation by my art history professor. And then after that, I went to my painting class, and I was also the last person to go that day, but thankfully it went very well. You know, my classmates enjoyed my piece, and my professor really enjoyed it. And then art history was the same as like discussing like our readings. Art history class, always the same. All we do is like we do a reading and then we discuss it in class. That's literally it. And then after my art history class, I went down to the ceramic studio to work on my coil vessel. But I was like getting annoyed because it was like not working out like the way that I wanted to, so I like literally left. I did not get much done at all, which was like kind of frustrating, but oh well. On the 27th, it was time to get prepped for my second edition, but before then, we got a taste of slab making in my ceramics class, because on the following Tuesday that week, we're going to have a professor, like a guest professor, do a like presentation about like the process he uses when making like slab built cups. But before that, we also used clay to make our own stamps for like decorating our cups. And I also continued working on my coil pot, but I didn't get much done because I was like talking to like some of the people at my table and I got distracted. Oops. And then I like in between my ceramics class and my screen printing class, it's literally the same. I just chill. And then I like pick up my grandmother, and then I come back home and chill a little bit more before leaving. I went a little early so I just realized I put this wrong. I said I went to ceramics a little early. I meant I went to my printing class a little early so I could get started on my transparencies and getting my screen prepped. I decided for my second edition I was going to print in the CMYK process. And to do that, you have to use like Photoshop to like separate like your pictures and stuff, which I had no clue how to do. I've never used Photoshop, so my professor helped me, but she was very helpful. Shout out to her. And I also had to do my screen emulsion twice because I messed it up the first time. But anyways, we are back to the 28th, which is a Friday. You can also get a little sneak peek of what March's monthly page looked like. 28th, Friday, which meant I have no classes, but Friday was the first day of Hobie's tour, or J-Hope of BTS. I saw like all of the clips and stuff on Twitter. It looked like it was so much fun, and he sounded amazing, and the sets were so cool, and the outfits were so cool, and I'm so incredibly jealous of everybody who gets to go see him on tour. I so wish he would have done like a concert in like DC, so it was close to where I live, but oh well. I pretty much like spent my time like working on like my coil pot, because I had to get that done, because that thing was supposed to be like 18 inches tall, and I had not gotten very far. But anyway, so that is the end of February in my hobonichi. Thank you all so much for coming along with me as I talked about my pages. March is already underway, so you can look forward to that one. I wanted to get this video up like the first Friday of March. I just wasn't able to, so I apologize for that. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be better next month, but I guess we'll just see. But anyways, thank you all so much for coming along to me as I talked about my February, or like I did a flip through of February in my hobonichi. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I also really hope that y'all have an absolutely amazing day. If you like this video, like, subscribe, and comment on it. You know, if you're used to hobonichi, tell me how yours is coming along. But yeah, thank y'all so much for watching, and like I said, I hope y'all have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!